your text is here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for coming to watch my video. So today I was actually thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and I decided that I was going to talk about hackathons, partly because this year, everything that has happened this year has started at a hackathon. So I really can't even separate Guardian Health and everything that has happened this year from hackathons, right? They're quite a big part of my story, or at least how my story started this year. So for those that do not know what hackathons are actually tech events where people usually build solutions over a course of time. So usually maybe it could be over a weekend, it could be a day, it could be 2 days, or whatever the case, but the idea is that you solve some problem, right? And then there's judging, and then there's winning and all of that stuff. There's no sleeping, sometimes no showering and all of that stuff, but it's very exciting. It's one very exciting thing. So sometimes hackathons will have themes. So you can have like a theme of this, we're trying to solve problems in tech, or we're trying to solve problems in education, or it can be more open-ended, where as an individual you choose problems that you care about. So for me, hackathons have been a really great way of building my portfolio, and I would really advise that even if you don't necessarily have like this idea that you think it's amazing, it's going to turn into this amazing business, as somebody who's in tech, employers do ask sometimes about a portfolio, and sometimes it's really hard to start a project when you don't have like an end goal type of thing, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this project and I want to learn this and all of that stuff. So hackathons can be a really amazing way of learning new skills in a very short space of time, right? So generally what you could do is that when you go to these hackathons and you identify a problem and you build this problem, you can then put your stuff on GitHub, or maybe if you've got a website where you can put stuff and stuff that you've worked on. But it can be a really amazing way of showing your skills, showcasing that maybe you're able to build an end-to-end product, which is something that sometimes we're not always able to showcase to maybe potential employers or people that want to work with you in future. So hackathons can actually be really great. And the other advantage also of hackathons is that sometimes they really do teach you to actually learn a lot of new skills. So if you are in tech, you could end up maybe having to build some machine learning model that you can integrate into your website that does something, and maybe you'd never touched machine learning before, and that could be like a really nice way for you to just like learn quickly. But also because when you're going to be in a team where you have people that have different skills, you can be able to learn stuff from those people and all of that stuff. It's a really amazing way of learning. Let me just put it like that. It's a really, really great way of learning new skills under a lot of pressure, and actually identify things that might be of interest to you as well. Because some people come out of there and they're like, oh my god, I think I really enjoyed building this app, I think I really want to pursue a lot more app development in future and all of that stuff. So it has a lot of positives. I cannot even think of a negative to go into a hackathon, guys. So check it out, try it out. It's amazing. Whether you win or not, it has advantages. Obviously, if you win, it can blow up, it can become something big. But if you don't win, there's still something to take away from that. There's the learning, there's your portfolio, and really take advantage of that. If you go to some hackathon, make sure that you actually find a way to use this, put it on your GitHub page and all of that stuff. Talk about it, say I worked on this project, or even maybe try finishing it after the hackathon as well, just to see where it could go as well, right? So now in terms of the actual winning, I'm just going to talk about my experience. Obviously I cannot speak for everybody. In terms of the actual planning for a hackathon, a lot of times I've noticed that people that do well are people that have had a problem they want to solve even before they go to the hackathon. Hackathons generally, yeah, sure, I mean, there's time for you to brainstorm, there's time for you to come up with ideas, there's time for you to plan, there's even time for you to come up with teams. You might actually go to a hackathon and you don't have a team, you can be able to do that there. But one of the things that I've noticed is that people that generally do well at those hackathons are people that have a problem, because usually, remember, a hackathon will have a theme even before you go to the hackathon, right? So they'll tell you, we're trying to solve, gender-based violence. We're trying to come up with something that can reduce gender-based violence. We're trying to come up with a problem that can make education and health more accessible, or whatever the case. They're giving you some form of theme, and already before you go there, you can come up with a team, pull up with some friends, sit down, brainstorm, come up with some solutions, come up with some ideas, have a roadmap of how you guys would solve this problem. And that means when you get to the hackathon, you already start to solve the problem, right? Which means you have more time than somebody who didn't have a team, who doesn't know what problem they're trying to solve or how they're trying to solve that problem, right? Because sometimes on the spot, it's really hard to come with great ideas sometimes, right? So if you can give yourself time before the hackathon to really think about it, to really come up with a solution, that would definitely put you at an advantage. So I would really advise that. But also in terms of teams, some of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes people do actually go to hackathons without teams, right? And the problem sometimes is that you're going to meet people that you just have no chemistry with, right? And sometimes you're going to meet people that you cannot work with, like you guys are not able to work together. So there's fighting throughout the weekend. There is even sometimes you'd find that people can't even agree on things on the stage and stuff like that. So when you already have a team, when you go to a hackathon, it really gives the advantage that you guys already know each other's strengths. You guys have worked together before. You know exactly how you're going to be solving the problems that you want to solve. You know who's going to do what. You know what strengths this person has. You know what weaknesses this person has. You know who's going to be presenting for us. You know all of those things, and you can be able to really work on each other's strengths and make sure that, you know what, because we've decided that we want to build an app and we know that she's fast and she's good, so she's going to do that. It really allows your planning to be more efficient, right? Because you're not doing a trial and error where I could say, oh, I can try doing the app, and then the next thing 8 hours later I've not even even one button isn't working. So when you already know each other's strengths, it allows for you guys to already know how to distribute the work, and you will probably work much faster as well, right? But really one thing that I just want to say is that when you go to a hackathon, focus on the learning. Like, I know that the winning is obviously the end goal and it's the ultimate goal, but also focus on learning something. Like, go there and be like, actually, you know what, I've come out, we were able to integrate this NoSQL database into our platform. And so that's something that you've learned, right? And you've improved your skill. You can really go to your CV and say, guys, I've worked with a NoSQL database. I know how it works and all of that stuff. I've done some data analytics because we had a data set and whatever. The learning is really, really important. Use it to build your platform, your career, in terms of, just saying, you know what, this is the expertise that I have. So use it to your advantage. And then one thing is, obviously, if you want to take your idea to a startup, you might have thought about it even before the hackathon, right? You've maybe done your research, which is, it's really important, guys, that you do research before you go to hackathons, or even when you come up with an idea, just check out what's there. It's quite important because the judges will ask you. Some of the judges, you're gonna go there and say, you know what, we want to recreate Uber. They're gonna ask you, haven't you heard of Uber, right? You've got to know what solution you're bringing and why you're bringing that solution. What gap are you trying to cover in the market, right? Like, is there an actual need, or are you just creating a product for the sake of it, right? You have to really be able to answer those kinds of questions. You have to understand, who are you targeting, and does your solution make sense for the people that you're targeting? If you are creating a product for grannies that are like 80 years old and you come up with this app, there are going to be questions about that. There are going to be questions about, is it really practical that you're creating this kind of an application for people that fall under this group, right? So it has to make sense, and you have to be able to defend your ideas. Like, when you create things, don't just create things for the sake of it. Create them, be able to see that they actually make sense. But one thing that is really amazing, and I would say one of the things that perhaps as Guardian Health we were able to really see that as an advantage, is that we were able to validate our idea, right? So we had an idea, we didn't know if it was really going to work, and we went with it to a hackathon. And then as we spoke to people that are in the industry, as we spoke to people that are much closer to the problem, they were able to validate it. They were able to say, oh, actually that would solve our problem, or maybe not this way, maybe let's think about it in this way. So it can also be a really nice way of validating your ideas, which also comes back to network. When you're at these hackathons, after the hackathon, there's going to be some time where you guys are talking. Go talk to somebody that showed that they have some insights about the problem that you're trying to solve, or maybe they've worked with that. Just find out what is it that you can improve, and really take the constructive criticism that maybe comes from the judges, that maybe comes from people, to go and polish your idea if it's something that you really think can work, and if it's something that if it's a problem that everybody agrees that it's an actual problem, right? As people like to say, that you need to fall in love with your problem, not the solution, right? What it basically means is that you must be ready to change your solution, but stick to the problem, because now you validated your problem. You know you've got a problem, right? You know there's something that you're trying to solve, and you know this is an actual problem that people are solving, right? You've done your research, but maybe the solution might not be the right one for the people or for the time as well. Sometimes you might come up with something that is too advanced for the time being, right? So those are the kinds of things you need to be validating, and you need to be, figuring out as you go. Don't focus too much on like depth, really be somebody who is like, show us something, show us how it's going to work, right? That's mostly what they're really interested in, right? Like, how's this thing going to work? What problem is it solving, right? Have something. Don't be too obsessed with perfection. And in fact, even when you want to move your idea to a startup, that is one of the advices that you're going to get, that don't focus too much on it has to be perfect. It has to be 100%. It's okay to get it out there, to get people to give you feedback, which, as I'm saying right now, that hackathons can be a great way of getting that feedback, of getting people to tell you what they think of your solution, right? Does it work? Do they think it's going to work? Can they hook you up with people that can give you even better insights about the problem that you are trying to solve, right? So really, validation. Don't be obsessed with perfection at a hackathon. You absolutely cannot create a perfect product at a hackathon, but the idea is obviously how much work you can put in and how much it can work. But also, most importantly, it's also sometimes a lot about the problem that you've identified and the solution therefore, and maybe what the end goal is going to solve. Sometimes it's about that, which is really why it's important for you to know how to sell your product, right? Like, guys, you need somebody who can sell in your team. A lot of times people win because they can genuinely sell their vision. Because when you've got a problem that you're trying to solve, when you've got a vision, you need to let people understand the vision that you've got, the problem that you're trying to solve. Because I might not be passionate about the problem that you're trying to solve, but how do you make another person to relate and to understand what you're trying to solve, and for them to say, yes, this is an actual problem that needs solving, right? So presentation is quite important for you to understand certain things about your problem. Who are you solving it for? What product are you trying to build? What solution are you trying to build? How have you measured, or how have you decided that this thing is going to actually make a difference, right? You could come up with some numbers through research that says, you know what, this is the impact that it's going to have, or this is the impact that it's going to cause into my society, and all of that stuff. So really learn how to sell your problem, learn how to sell the solution that you are trying to solve, learn how to make people to understand the problem that you are trying to solve. But also, most importantly, guys, solve problems you care about, solve actual problems. Like, you never know when your lucky break is gonna be. You never know when you're gonna just that right solution that everybody has been waiting for, and it just blows up. So solve actual problems, like identify problems in your society, because that's why we have these degrees, right? That's why we're in tech, that's why we're in whatever industries that we're in, right? And actually, even for people that are not in tech, guys, you can still go to hackathons as well if you know people that are in tech. Because I won't lie, the tech aspect is quite important, because usually at a hackathon they do want to see that you've built something, right? But going there sometimes and being able to partner up with some people that are in tech to solve problems in certain industries can be great. Because sometimes when you're in tech and you don't have the domain knowledge of the problems that people face in logistics or people face in health, you might not know the problems they're facing, and therefore might not have the right solutions to solve those problems. And so partnering up with different people and just understanding domain knowledge of certain industries is going to help you to come up with relevant solutions. So yeah, guys, go hack, go have fun. It's really amazing. Like, I'm really looking forward to next year and everything that it can bring. And I think you can really take Guardian Health as a success story of hackathons, guys. If ever you need some evidence that this thing works, take your idea and really take it seriously. If somebody says, look, this thing could work, put in the work. Like, actually go back and do all the research you need to do and build it, showcase it, or whatever the case. And if you really identified something you care for, then go for it. Like, pursue it, put in the work. You really have nothing to lose, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you've gained a lot of experience. If it does work out, oh well, that's the ultimate, right? But really, guys, solve problems you care for and Happy hacking, guys. Thank you so much for listening to my video. Do leave a comment, do subscribe, and yeah, do leave suggestions as well of things you would want me to talk about. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.